Welcome back to another episode of Soul Driven with Steph. I am so excited about today's episode because it's about a topic that every single person can relate to, and that is building up your system of support. We're going to talk about this in all areas of your life. So whether you're a small business owner trying to balance business and your personal life, maybe you're also a mom who is trying to just overcome the overwhelm, or maybe you're really focused on your career, but you don't want it to come at the cost of your lifestyle. Today, we're going to look at different types of support that you can pull in. We're going to talk about, even in more depth, this concept of who, not how that we've mentioned on the podcast previously. And then we're also going to look at just the cost versus investment mentality. So let's dig in, because this is a concept and mindset shift that I have found very essential as I go into this season of motherhood, trying to really focus on, building out my maternity leave and building out my birth team and just all the different people that I need for support in this new season of doing something totally new. And we're all in a season of that in some way, shape, or form. So I'm going to share with you kind of my own experiences of implementing this concept of who, not how, and building up my own system and support. I'm going to share with you past experiences of things that I've done and give you hopefully some ideas and at least one action step that you can walk away with from this podcast that will help you implement and integrate immediately. So let's start with just the concept of who, not how, because like I said, we've mentioned it on the podcast, but let's really dig into what it means. So instead of asking yourself, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do all the things? How? When we ask how, we feel like it's all on us. It's our responsibility. We feel this weight on our shoulders, and it's too much to bear often. We're trying to do everything ourselves. Instead of asking, how am I going to do this? Asking, who could help me with this? Who would love this opportunity? Who could bring their own experience and expertise to this maybe problem or situation? So in this way, trying to look at, for example, how am I going to take a 2-month minimum maternity leave? Instead of asking how, which I feel overwhelmed and very anxious about, asking who could help me do this. So even in my own life, I'm building up my system of support in my businesses, in my personal life, to really help me fight the overwhelm and anxiety that comes from trying to do everything myself. Plus, when you ask who, not how, you welcome collaborations instead of isolating yourself, again, putting it all on your own shoulders. It expands your vision bigger than it could ever be of you just trying to tackle it on your own. And ultimately, it takes the pressure off, which we could all use a little bit less stress and pressure in our day-to-day life. So maybe some pushback that you feel around this is, well, this is how everyone does it in my industry. This is how all the other moms do it. This is how all the other people at my work do it. Like, we start to compare ourselves to the people around us and question our own abilities to change the script and do something differently that maybe would work better for us. For example, I have found that there are times in the industry of real estate where I feel overwhelmed because of the way the industry is and because of the way that other agents operate. For example, like just constantly being on their phone, dropping, maybe personal plans immediately to go show a property, and really letting, the industry, which always feels urgent, overtake my own systems, my scheduling, and my boundaries that I've created for me as a small business owner so that I can have a personal life. And I often find myself kind of butting up against the industry standards or expectations based on what other people, other agents are doing, and what I want for my life, for my business, how I operate, and trying to find the happy medium, trying to find success in my business while still holding true to who I am and what I value, which is not giving up my personal time and not running at the drop of a hat if it's not necessary and not being on my phone constantly. All of those things. So when you find yourself meeting that resistance of this is how it's always done, this is how I have to do it to get to success because that's how everyone else did it. I want you to pause and question, what if I did this differently? What if I approached my industry in a different way? What if I approached my career in a different way? What if I approached motherhood in a different way? And what is stopping you? Is it people's opinions? Is it people's expectations? Is it guilt and expectations that you're putting on yourself more than anyone else? So as we approach this topic, I really wanted to kind of head on tackle the resistance that you might meet mentally, internally, or outwardly about doing things differently and pulling in the support that you need. Okay, let's just take that on from the get-go so that when we run into that resistance, we know that we can question the status quo, we can do things differently, and we can't let that stop us. Another piece of resistance that you're probably going to encounter is, this is a cost I can't afford. But is it a cost or is it an investment in yourself, in your business, in your family, in your time? Because as we've talked about, time is the ultimate form of wealth. And time is limited, right? Investment of money, while yes, we might be on a budget, is unlimited. We ultimately can always make more money. We can never get time back. So the mindset of seeing it as a cost versus an investment can also be resistance to it. So not only will it save you your precious time and energy, but it is a transformation instead of a transaction. You're seeing it as this transformational opportunity instead of just this transactional exchange of money for someone else's time or services, because you are getting your time back. So taking on these maybe resistance or these types of boundaries that we're going to run up against that we might need to overcome, just simply the mindset piece of asking, of calling in and justifying building up our system of support. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, because I know that's a huge part of this, and I've faced all of these. I have definitely run into the cost versus investment, and I've definitely run into the feeling like I need to do it all myself. And now I'm in a season of going into motherhood, realizing that there's absolutely no way that I can run all my businesses like I do right now, take care of myself so that I can show up as the best business owner, mom, spouse, daughter, friend, all of those things, and pour life into this new baby and new family member that is coming. So often we find ourselves in this season of surrender. I have had so many conversations with so many people lately, small business owners and not, feeling like we're kind of in a season of surrender, of where we can't control and manipulate and force things. We actually have to step back and give up some of that control to surrender to the season that we're in. I have learned more than anything in this season of pregnancy and going into motherhood how much surrendering is really required. And if you're a mom, I'm sure you're laughing because, yeah, you do require a lot of surrender when you now have these humans who are controlling your time and your schedule. So we really do need to call in on that system of support and build up our system of support in these seasons of surrender, especially. Oftentimes, we think that we actually need to do more to get the results that we want, when really what we need to do is less and step back and surrender more. So I challenge you, if you feel like you're in a season where you're doing the thing, you're putting in the work, you're doing the actions, and you're just not seeing the reward yet, you might need to take your hands off the wheel. You might need to let go and say, okay, I've done everything that I can possibly do on my own. Now I need to either call in support or surrender the outcome and see what happens. Because when we change our mindset and our energy around something, and we're not pushing and forcing and trying to manipulate something into what we think it should be, we open up the doors to so many different opportunities and possibilities. So hopefully by now you're saying, okay, yes, I need this. I got the mindset piece. I'm going to overcome this. Now, what do I actually do? I am all about, taking it on from the mindset, the energy, the spirituality, but then we need some action steps. We need some tangible steps to move forward. Okay. I'm always going to try to give you both because that is how my brain works. So the first activity I have for you to do that is going to help bring you clarity is a task analysis. Now, I have taught for many years a time analysis, and I still think doing a time analysis of how you spend your time every single day is a great activity. If you've never done a time analysis and you feel like you're running out of time, definitely do a time analysis. But if you have really honed in on your schedule, you have deleted some things, you have time blocked, you have implemented all of the strategies or many of the strategies that I've talked about and taught on this podcast and other episodes on, just expanding your time, productivity, time management, all of those things. And you're like, at the end of the day, it's not about the amount of time I have or being conscious of my time. I simply have too many tasks on my plate. If that is you, then this is the activity you need to do. It's called a task analysis. So to give you a little backstory, I was teaching on this concept of calling in your system of support and who, not how for our Small Business Sister Circle membership this month. And I was feeling overwhelmed and I have really honed in on my schedule. So I didn't feel like it was time that I was stressing about. It was that I had too many tasks on my plate that I was trying to check off every week. So I sat down and thought, okay, Steph, if you are going to teach small business owners how to build in their system of support and you are feeling overwhelmed, what are you going to do to build on your system of support? Perfect timing for me to look ahead going into motherhood and maternity leave. So I sat down and I literally listed every single task that I do in my business, all of them, basically on a weekly or monthly, quarterly basis. Okay, this is different than your rhythms calendar because this is just looking at all of the tasks that you do. Now, if you really wanted to go deep on this and you're feeling overwhelmed in your personal life, then I would suggest adding on all the house chores, all the things you do around your home. So you have this mega list of all the things you do for work and all the things you do personally in your life. And then you're going to show it to your significant other and say, this is why I'm constantly feeling overwhelmed and crazy. I'm just kidding. But you could show it to them and it might give them a lot of clarity. But it's for you. So you have this list, this mega list of tasks that you do every week, month, or quarterly basis. Now, the first step to that, after writing them all out, I typed them all out, is I then bolded the items that brought me the most joy, because that's important. If I am really trying to build a business and a lifestyle that I love, then I need to focus on what do I really enjoy about what I do every single day or every week or every month. So bold the things that bring you joy, the most joy. Then you're going to underline the high impact activities. So if it's in your career or even around the house, like what are the high impact activities? Maybe that is truly cooking dinner and sitting down with your family, to have, quality time together. Maybe it's doing your laundry every week so you don't get behind because that's really important to you. Maybe in your business, it's sales. It's, getting on the phone, calling clients, following up with people, creating marketing materials. What are the high impact activities that you absolutely need to be doing in your life or your business or your career that you can't let go of? The next is to simply delete or trash anything that you don't really need to do. And maybe there's probably one or two things that you're continuing to do that doesn't really make a difference. And if you're not sure, just stop doing it for a week or a month and just see what happens. See if anyone notices. See if you even notice. See if, it makes a difference at all. And I don't know what that could be for you. It could be, sending out a weekly email. Like maybe your open rate is just not making it worth it. Maybe it is, going out of your way to go to an extra grocery store because there's a couple things that you like to get from there. Just simple things, but they really can add up as far as tasks over time. The next piece is to highlight something that you could transfer to a who. And we're going to talk after this about different forms of pulling in support to give you some ideas of who that could be. But there are definitely going to be a handful of things on this task list that you could transfer. You could get an assistant. You could hire someone to come in and help you with meal prep. You could do grocery delivery. What are some things that you could essentially, transfer to someone else? So trash, transfer. And then the last piece, we're going to star the things that we could actually automate with technology. We live in 2024. So let's really tap into and utilize some of this technology for good to help us streamline and take some of the mental load off of doing things. So maybe it's something you do every single week. Could you just automate it so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every week? Maybe it's your grocery list is pretty much the same every week. Could you automate it and maybe have a little bit of customization? Could you automate, some of your emails if you're answering the same things? Could you set up an email sequence for new clients? Could you figure out a way to streamline basically any system or process that you have around the house, in your business, or at work? Once you do all of the task analysis and you go through those steps, I guarantee you will feel so much better. You will have a plan. I did this to just get started with how I'm going to tackle my maternity leave, and I'm already taking action on it, and it feels so good. So some of the things that I am finding who's for is I'm actually building up a team of certified coaches for Sister Circle that are going to be able to speak at meetings, speak on kickoff calls, lead group discussions, just all of the things that go into running this business so that I don't have to do that every single month and I can actually continue the business, keep it going while I'm on maternity leave. So I'm training up coaches to do that. I'm bringing in an intern. I'm freelancing some of the marketing and different pieces. So I'm actually taking a multi-step approach to letting my businesses become more sustainable without me doing everything. So let's talk about that. Once you've done the task analysis and you're like, okay, these are the things that I need to do because I enjoy them or they are crucial to my business and to my life, or I need to find a who. What does that look like? Or I need to automate it. Let's look at the different types of support. Now, these are different types of support. So when I'm teaching this concept to small business owners, the traditional type of support would be hiring an employee, right? Well, you might not be prepared or ready or even wanting to do that. So let's look at different types of support. So that's why I say these are different than just your typical part or full-time employee. So the first one is having a board of directors. I am so big on having a board of directors, whether you're a business owner or not, because these are the expert area people that you need in your life. These are areas of expertise that you are not going to try to learn yourself. And this is an investment in money, right? So this could be an attorney, like for your legal needs. This could be a financial planner to help you, plan for retirement or do investments. This is a realtor. Like, don't try to sell your house on your own. You're not an expert on the industry or the market. Trust me, the market is changing daily, and you want to know that that insight that is going into, a big purchase or selling decision like your home. What are some other ones? Would be a mentor, a coach, like just someone to help guide you, whether you're in a career or a business. There are so many different ways to pull into your board of directors, your accountant, your insurance person. Like, these are areas that you're not going to become an expert in them. So you need to have that board of directors. The next type of support is outsource and freelance. We live in an age where we can actually hire people part-time for project-based things even. We don't need to have full or part-time employees. We can literally hire people on an hour-to-hour, project-to-project basis, and that is truly amazing. So could you, instead of taking the time it would to learn something that you're not an expert at, could you freelance it out? Could you outsource it to someone else? So some examples of this. The obvious one for your home is cleaning. I've also brought in support for decluttering. Like, we've heard Emily on the podcast talking about how she helps people declutter their home. Maybe you're bringing in support for meal prep. Maybe you're bringing in support for your laundry, or just picking up things around the house. Maybe you're hiring someone to come mow your lawn or take care of your plants. So those are some maybe household things, but there's so many ways that you could outsource and freelance in your business, whether that's marketing, hiring a social media company, someone to do your website. It's so funny because I taught myself how to create websites because back when I started my first business in my early 20s, I didn't have the money to pay someone to build a website. So I learned how to do it myself. Well, guess what? That was a big learning curve. But at the time, I had the time to actually teach myself how to do that. Nowadays, I would not try to do that. I would hire it out immediately and try to, find a company that would work with me. So it is something where you could learn it, but it's really not a good use of your time. Same thing goes for bookkeeping. Like, I taught myself how to do QuickBooks because, well, one, I wanted to learn and know exactly what was going on in my finances and not just pass that on to someone else. But I also, again, didn't have the money to hire a bookkeeper. And I'm still doing my bookkeeping and is on my list of one of the things to eventually outsource because, again, now that I've learned it, it's fine, but I don't always think it's the best to learn everything that is not our area of expertise, especially when we're limited on time. Maybe it is your systems. Maybe you really just need someone to come in and help you build out some systems for your business or your life. You can implement that rhythms calendar into Asana anytime that you want. I have now been using Asana not only for my business, but my personal. I will put repeating tasks on my Asana to remind me that I have things that, I want to do or when I need to call in support. So that's the second one, outsourcing or freelancing. And then the third one is internship or trade work. So this is kind of twofold. One, if you're going to have an internship, especially if it's going to be unpaid, you're going to put a lot of time investment into that intern. So that's part of the trade-off. That's part of the deal. It's supposed to be a win-win for both people. You're going to get free help for your business, but then you're putting a lot more time investment into training that person and giving them the experience that they need, maybe for college credit or just the experience they want to put on their resume. So it's definitely more of a time investment. But if you have the time and you have the systems in place, it can be a really, really positive way to find maybe eventual freelance work or part-time employees, and or to just get some help without the investment of money. The next piece is trade work. This is awesome. I do this all the time still, and I love it. So how can you trade your product or service or time? So if you're not a business owner, that's okay. It could be your time or your experience or expertise for someone else to help you. So okay, here's the thing. It has to be a win-win for both sides, right? Both sides need to feel like they're getting, their time or investment worth out of it, but it can be so positive for both people to get a win. Maybe you know someone who has way more time available than you do that wants to come in and do something maybe around your house or in your business. And the trade-off for them could be like they have the time and you have maybe experience to share with them, or you have, something that you can trade that would give them a win as well as yourself. I've also done it in business a lot where we're trading services or we're trading products. And as long as they are equal value, that's the key here, is they need to feel like both people got to win, they're equal value. That can be a huge way to get what you need. So, maybe you're trading a service for your website to be built. You need a website to be built. You're trading that with someone else and you're providing them your service in return. The last one is one that I think we often forget, but it's so apparent in our everyday life, and that is using technology to its full capabilities. So the last piece of different type of support is technology. We live, again, in 2024. There is so many opportunities for us to streamline, automate, and just save time with the convenience of technology. So for example, this platform that I record all of my podcasts on is called Riverside. And I actually hadn't heard of it until last year when I was on someone else's podcast and they were using this platform. And I was like, wow, this is super cool. So I signed up for a trial because at the time I was just using Zoom. Now, Zoom is great for meetings, calls, but it wasn't super great for what I needed for the podcast, which was I wanted social media clips, I wanted show notes, I wanted quality video and audio for uploading to YouTube and social media, which Zoom is okay quality, but not great. So I looked into this platform, Riverside, and holy cow, they had AI generated clips for social media, AI generated show notes, and the upload time of everything was so fast. And I didn't have to store all of the videos on my desktop like I did with Zoom to then edit in a separate platform. Like I can do all of the editing right here in Riverside. So it was convenience. It was fast. It was, automated. It was saving me time, like mounds of time, and allowed me to take the podcast to the next level that I wanted to go to. So I made the investment, the financial investment to buy the software. So is there a technology piece to your problem that you could just simply invest the money in to save you time and convenience? Even getting into Google Calendar. I started using Google Calendar this year. It has been a game changer for me. And then integrating that with the rest of your family. Maybe it's QuickBooks. If you are still trying to do all of your bookkeeping by hand or in a spreadsheet for your business, it's probably not the best system. Could you pay for QuickBooks? QuickBooks has been one of the best investments I've made, and I've been using it for years. And it allows my accountant to access it too. So I don't have to be sending him a bunch of things every month. He can just see where things are at and give me a good projection of where things are going. What other software or technology could you make a little investment in and utilize to save you time, energy, convenience, all of the things? So, quick recap. board of directors, outsource or freelance, internship or trade work, and technology. Okay, let's take a deep breath together. Did one area ring a bell with you? Did you have one idea or spark of inspiration of who you could transfer some of those tasks to? I hope you got at least one idea, if not more, from this podcast. And my call to action for you is to not only do the task analysis, but then take it a step further and implement one form of support ASAP in the next couple days. Just take action on it. Reach out to someone, put it out there on social media that you're looking for X, Y, or Z. You never know who might know just the person that you need to connect to. Sometimes who's don't come in the form of direct, reciprocation or direct exchange of energy or time or money, but they're actually just come in the form of someone connecting you to the right person that you need at the right time. So if you're in a season of surrender like me, take your hands off the reins, do this activity, this task analysis, take one step forward and asking and calling on for more help, more support, and really just allow yourself to receive support. I want to end by saying that we have to actually be open to receiving the support that we need. And often that comes down to feeling worthy of it. And I know this is getting maybe a little deep, but we have to actually feel worthy of receiving the support and help that we need, not feeling like we need to do it all ourselves. We are absolutely worthy of receiving help and support. Every single person needs help and support along their journey of life, of business, of entrepreneurship, of motherhood, of their career, whatever it is. For me, I'm building up my system of support not only in my businesses to take that maternity leave, but I'm also building up my system of support for my baby, for my birth. And to just give you some examples of that, I have my midwife, Dr. Erica. I'm going to have a doula. I'm going to have my husband there to help. I have so many friends that want to support me. We are looking at doing a really fun nesting party of just getting my house ready and more or less spending time with people before the baby comes. I'm looking at my mom is going to do daycare for my baby. That's a huge system of support. My parents being able to help out, friends, family, like really, truly leaning on the people that want to help you. And it's more than you think. Typically, people want to help, but we're so afraid to ask. We're right. Like we know everyone else is busy. So we don't even want to ask. But are you robbing someone else of the opportunity to give you love back? So often I think about how many times I should have asked for help and I didn't, and how I was stealing the opportunity for people to give me love back, right? I have given so many people love and support over the years, whether it's their business, friendship, family, whatever it is. But if we're not willing and allowing others to give that back to us, we're kind of blocking the exchange of energy, right? Oftentimes people want to help you if you have helped them, especially if you have poured into them. Give them the opportunity. Don't rob them of it. And more often than not, they are thrilled to share their passion, their experience, their expertise, something that they're good at to help you. So don't rob them of that opportunity to do so. Open yourself up, surrender more, trust, let go, do less. We're in a season of surrender and we're in a season of building up support. And I hope this podcast hit home with you in some way, shape, or form today. And until next time, keep following what drives your soul. Hey, it's Steph, and I wanted to invite you to something brand new that is coming this summer that I am so excited about. Our first ever live podcast social. This is the Soul Driven Sisters live podcast social. It's going to be held on Thursday, June 13th at Practically Posh in Onalaska from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And this is for all of you. You are the heart and soul of the Soul Driven with Steph podcast, and I'm inviting you to come join us for this amazing evening together. You'll get to be part of this live audience, so you'll be able to listen to the podcast live as well as ask questions and interact with our amazing soul sisters that are going to be part of this. Our first event, like I said, is June 13th, and it'll be held at Practically Posh, and it'll be me interviewing Emmeline, our beautiful spiritual sister who is the owner of Greenhouse Holistic Co-op, as well as the amazing owner of Practically Posh, Brenda. These women are soul-driven, small business owners full of insight, experience, spirituality, and just really overcoming resiliency. I cannot wait. I hope you join us. As a listener of the podcast, use the code podcast when you register to get $10 off your ticket. And invite your friends. This is for everyone, small business owners or not, avid podcast listeners or not, anyone that wants to come fill up their cup and be inspired. You will get to learn, grow, and connect through the social with the other attendees. I hope to see you there.